tonight's Saturday. It's not a Saturday stream. Welcome to tonight's Real Talk podcast. Let me know you can see me in the chat area so that I'm not just talking to myself here. Yes, it looks like I am good. So tonight I have a very special guest. I have one of the founders and stars of Me and My.
David, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I can't hear you. I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear you.
Oh, here we go. And I've just talked for the last 5 minutes and no one's heard a thing. So I'll do that all over again. So welcome to tonight's Real Talk podcast. Tonight I have a very special guest, Mr. Andy Proudman, who you can now see, who has grown his YouTube channel to over 734,000 subscribers, over 117 million views, and in the golf space. So it isn't your typical gaming thing or like that, or your typical business channel. This is a very niche channel, which does have quite a bit of money, which we're going to talk about tonight. So if you have questions for Andy, pop them in the chat area. Lena will pull them up and we'll get your questions asked during the podcast. So welcome to the podcast, Andy.
Thanks, David. Thanks for having us on. It's great to be able to chat and hopefully provide. Actually, I don't know exactly what I'm in for, so looking forward to having a talk.
Even better. Even better. Okay, so so let's start with way back when. So growing up in England, you have the opportunity to play rugby, cricket, tennis, football, whatever. What was it about golf that attracted you to it?
Do you know what? I actually played a lot of different sports when I was younger. Football, tennis, the lot, and I was quite good at football. But then I started to play golf, and I realized how hard it was. And I think that the actual challenge of it being so tough and me not being very good at it made me want to actually be good at it. Football and the other things are quite simple, but I played golf and I was terrible for the first time. And I was like, this is embarrassing. I need to be good at this.
Okay.
And then you hit that one shot that you go, oh, that one shot feels so good. Maybe if I could hit a few more of those, that's the one that keeps you coming back. So, I think the challenge of it really just sort of hooked me in. And then once you start to see some progress, golf sort of gives you the bug, and then you're all in then.
So it was that little temptress that you every once in a while got a good shot and you got like nice big dose of dopamine. And,
yes.
And you just got, I want more of this.
Exactly. It didn't happen enough, so you're like, right, I need to get a bit better at this.
So it was just pure determination to go, right, give me my fix. I need this fix now, this dopamine from golf, and I'm going to just stick at it till I get more of it.
Yeah, exactly. And it was different back then. I mean, I started playing when I was really 12 or 13, and
wow.
It was probably viewed as more of an old man sport then compared to what it is now. It's a lot more accessible. And I remember I had to quit the football team. It was decide if you're going to play football or you're going to play golf.
Okay.
And I told all the football lads at
Oh, we've lost him. So we'll get him back. He'll be back in a second. So if you have any questions, pop them in the chat area. Lena will pull them up and we'll ask Andy during the podcast. Here he is again. And we're back.
It dropped me out then.
There you go. You're back. So you were telling the guys on the football team you're giving up football for golf.
Yeah, they were like, "What? Isn't like that an old man sport?" So yeah, you can imagine their reaction to that. But yeah, that was a good decision. And then I joined a golf club, and then just got sort of really into it then. And I sort of lived at the golf club for another 4 years, just nonstop playing golf.
Wow. So your parents weren't worried where you were because they knew they had to drag you out of the golf club.
Exactly. They'd drop me off in the morning at 8 o'clock, and then they'd leave me there until whatever time until it was dark really in the summer. I'll be there until 9 p.m. and so they knew exactly where I was, which was good.
Okay, so you've got your golf you got the golf bug. So what was the next step? What was first, the golf business or golf channel?
The coaching side of things. So I was having some coaching as a junior, and I remember the guy who I was having coaching off just really made a difference to me. I'd have a lesson every week, and I'd be like, this is really good. I was getting better, seeing the progress, and also seeing how this golf coach made me feel about me and the game. It was like, this is just amazing. And I was like, I'd love to be able to have that impact on somebody else, to how he made me feel. I'd love to be able to give that to somebody else. And then that was probably the start where I thought, oh, I could really be a coach. I'd love to be able to coach it like he has. So for me, it was always, okay, yeah, I'd like to coach. I really want to go down the coaching route. So I made that decision quite early.
Okay.
Not knowing anything about where it was going to go. It was like, I'm going to be a golf coach. I'm going to coach golfers, and that is it, really. And then I actually played my current business partner, Pierce, who I do the coaching with online. He was a member at the same golf club. We played junior golf together. And then we said, oh, we'll set up, it would be great to set up a coaching business at some point, me and him, because we were quite like-minded. And then we set up an academy in 2006, where we sort of built this academy up, where we coached all sorts of golfers, beginners, adults, everything really that we wanted to do. Yeah. And then towards the back end of that, around 2011 and 12 was where we started to sort of get into and look at YouTube. And we just made the decision that we don't want to be coaching 6 days a week on a driving range till we're 60. Let's have a bit of time out to think about what we want to do. And YouTube was there, and it was quite exciting. Nobody was really doing it on the golf scene. So we thought, well, let's have a go at this, and we actually quit our job and went traveling around the world first to decide, let's think about what we want to do. Okay. And we just created the channel then. And we created some content while we traveled around the world. And then we got back after three months from traveling and said, right, there's an opportunity here in YouTube. We can see sort of the future of where it's going from online content. Let's commit to it. Let's make a commitment to be consistent for a long period of time, and let's just see what happens. And that was in 2012. So we're talking 9 years ago now.
Which in internet terms is a long time. Yeah,
it is. It's a long time. It's crazy, really. But it feels like we're still right at the start of it. That's the strange thing. We've been doing it a long time now, and we're probably one of the, I suppose, the rare few are in at the early stage, but we feel that we're still at the start of it, and there's still so much to learn and whatever. And we're always learning, and it's we're still very much a part of the YouTube space.
Fantastic. And we'll get into some of those learnings in a bit. So my team have been going through your channel, and they have pulled up some interesting questions for you. So sort of from the business side, I'd like to address that early on. So how many leads is your business pulling in from YouTube on a monthly basis?
Oh, do you know what? This is something that we haven't been actually as good as we could have from that. I would say on a monthly basis, potentially leads or sales. What would you say?
Both.
Leads or sales?
Both.
Say again?
Both.
I would say it's a really hard one to quantify. I would say sales anything from 50 to 100.
Okay, that's not too shabby.
The leads, it's an interesting one because we've actually just set up a lead magnet and a lead campaign where we've got a funnel to get people in from YouTube to show them what we can do in terms of the online content to the website. And it's took us a long time to actually set this up, and we're like, why haven't we done it before? And I'd say within the first few weeks of doing it, which is over the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've been pulling in anywhere between 300 and 600 new leads a week.
Okay, that's not too shabby.
Yeah. So this is something that we haven't focused on for a while, but it's a great way then to really first of all get information off the details off the YouTube subscribers, get them into our funnels and into our system, and then educate them on obviously what we're doing in terms of our services and our products.
Yeah. And what are your core products that you're offering right now?
So our main products are you can either buy a coaching plan, which is like basically an online course that you can do, and we have multiple different types of plans from let's say fixing your slice to a short game of putting. There's loads of different plans on there. People can either buy and purchase one of those, or they can actually sign up to a subscription of the website, so a membership subscription. So similar to Netflix. And we do 3 different levels. We do a monthly plan, a 6-monthly plan, or an annual plan as well.
Okay. So from those people, you're doing a nice 5 figures a month based on there from into your business.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So you're doing, like, from what we see, you're currently doing about 1.5 million views per month on your channel. We'll talk about the seasonality about it as well. So getting those people in, so it's a nice 5 figures into your business from YouTube, and that's the money off of YouTube, and that's not including the AdSense revenue as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it's we've got definitely 5 figures from that, and then plus our main revenue source is the website. Yeah. But the YouTube is obviously the marketing funnel to get them into there, really.
Love it. Okay, so what are those things? Again, from a business perspective, we'll get into the YouTube tactics and stuff in a minute. So from a end user point of view, the golfer is looking to improve their game. What is the content that triggers them to go into your funnel or go to your website or buy a product, as opposed to stuff they can learn on YouTube and they don't really progress any further?
Yeah, so the main funnel that we've got, which we've created, it's more of a video series or a plan. So obviously on YouTube, they can get multiple videos on just lots of different parts of the game, and they can go down the rabbit hole there. But what we've created in terms of the 5 shots lower is a series of videos based on a result. So getting them 5 shots better. Yeah. So it's more of a package, more of a program that they can work through, as opposed to just 5 random videos, really, if that makes sense, that they can just get confused about. And it's on a different subject each time, that they can apply, really tactical, simple things that they can apply on the golf course there and then, that's just really easy, that will make a difference.
Love it. So you're basically focusing on the end result of that they're looking to achieve with your lead magnet, so that they could get the information from YouTube if they watch 20 videos, as opposed to, here's it all nicely packaged up for you, and this is the end result we're focusing on for you in this program.
Yeah, exactly. And that's changed over the last probably couple of months, because it's an area that we've actually just put more time into. We've neglected, or not neglected, we just haven't focused on that. Yeah. And we're actually refilming these videos as well now, over the next probably 2 or 3 weeks, because we're going to revamp them, but we were also going to reword and understand how we're going to sort of educate people on what we do from the website side of things as well. So just a more detailed approach to improving the conversions of this lead magnet as well.
Perfect. Okay, so I want to jump in. We got a couple of questions here already. We have Cameron, who has a sports channel and has got 46 subscribers. So his question is, what should he focus on initially to get his channel up and running as quickly as possible?
I think that the one thing he just needs to do is be consistent. So decide on how many videos you're going to put up per week. Be consistent with that. Whether you're going to put 1, 2 a week up, be consistent with that. If you're consistent with the uploads as well, in terms of the times, I'd urge you to do that. But I think there's no real fast way in terms of, if you're a sports channel anyway. I think if you're just consistent with your posting and you're going to say, right, I'm going to commit to doing this, and as you start to sort of grow and get some traction, reach out to some people for some collaborations. Collaborations are really going to be key. Think of who you can speak to and collaborate with, that you can add some value to their channel, maybe cross sports, but same sports, who really you can provide some value to them as well. So consistency of posting is just really important, and you need to really think about the long game. And you'll just start to see that snowball effect. We've been there, 46 subscribers. It's and it seems so far away from where you are now. But if you can just be patient and consistent and play the long game, and just you know, do the weekly work. Do the weekly work is what I'd say.
Perfect. Now let's talk about consistency, because looking at your channel, like for the first couple of years, it was like you did 1 or 2 videos a week, and then it went up to 3, then 5 a week, and then it was like there was a month where there was 1 video, and then it's like we're back up to 5 a week, and then down to 2. So
Yeah.
Obviously not the best strategy to take on a channel, but what was happening during those times that you were going from, say, 2 videos a week to 5, and now you're at 1, like you go out on Sundays? What was sort of happening with your knowledge, your experience, and obviously content creation that was making things a bit up and down?
It was just discovery. It was, for us, we knew we were going to post every week. And it was just a discovery thing. You know, sometimes we would travel and we would just do, for instance, we'd do some random vlogs, which we just do. We wanted to do, let's say, film the day where we was and then have it up the next day. So it just, some of it depending on if we were traveling, we wanted to really document almost the immediateness of where we were. Yeah. So some of that was travel, but a lot of it was just discovery and going, well, what works? What can we do? And the reason I suppose we did more back then, we had literally nothing else. We had a YouTube channel, and that was our only focus. So it was quite easy to create maybe 2 to 4 or 5 videos when there was nothing else to do and nothing else to focus on. Now with Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok and all the rest of it, it's now just, I suppose it's just one small part of the pie, whereas before it was the whole pie. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so now you're focusing on 1 day a week, and you're just getting higher quality stuff, because you can see the transition of the length of your content as well. Because when you started out, it was like there were 1-minute videos, 2-minute, maybe a 3-minute here and there. It was just quick tips for the golfer. Basically, you could look at it and then you're off to the golf course to apply it. What have you learned over time about the length of content and how to create better quality content?
I think the length is something that I think obviously YouTube likes the longer form content, and it's definitely better for revenue. You know, if we put the longer content up, it earns us more revenue. But also, it's where people go to find, well, the short form content now. They can get somewhere else. They can get it on Instagram. They can get it on Facebook. Whereas the YouTube content is where they're going to really learn. They're going in there to search, how can I do this? So the person watching YouTube generally has got a little bit more time, and they're a little bit more patient, not lots more patient, but a little bit more patient in order to do that. So I think what we've got better at in terms of the length of them is really doing our best to keep them engaged. So from the start, not talking for a minute about nothing. So it's like, this is what we're going to do today. This is what you're in store for. Let's get into it. And then we really go into giving them what they want really fast, but also teasing them with what's going to come. So it's like, we're going to share with you 3 tips today, and you don't want to miss these, because these are really going to help your game from this, this, and this. Right, let's get into the first tip. And then we get into the first tip, deliver that, and they know that they've got some other things coming. So I think when we do go the longer content, we're always thinking about how can we just create the variety to keep them engaged, whether it's putting music in, whether it's changing up the camera angles, whether it's delivering more valuable tips to keep them on the hook, really. So it's testing us, but they tend to be a little bit longer now. But people seem to like them as well. People seem to like them.
Love it. So you're putting in more cuts, you're putting in music, you got all of these elements that are keeping people engaged. You're hooking them in. We're going to go and give you 3 tips, and tip number 3 is going to knock 5 shots off your every game, blah blah, whatever that hook is that gets them to keep them all the way to the end. So whether it is an 8-minute video or a 28-minute video, you're using these techniques to keep people watching all the way pretty much to the end.
Yeah, exactly. We're just showing them what's to come, really, and then just thinking of all the ways to just really keep their attention, I suppose. Keep their attention, and we're changing all the time. Every week we're looking at different ways to get better and engage them and do things. It's a never-ending process, as you know. Absolutely.
And I love it that you're constantly learning and looking to improve your content. It's not just, oh yeah, this works. We got 1 million views with this style of video. Let's just lather, rinse, repeat this for the next year. And then your views are going to drop off. It's not always that easy. And you're looking to improve every single video.
Yeah. Do you know what the strange thing is as well, David? I'd say maybe over the last 12 to 18 months is the only, not the only time, but we've really gone deep in the analytics. Whereas in the early days, all we would do is upload content and that's it. We wouldn't look at the audience retention rates and when they drop off, and we weren't looking at anything. So now it's massively different. Now we've got somebody who looks after YouTube for us, who analyzes all the data. And I'm paying attention to it as well to learn. Of course. So we're playing the YouTube game. You know, we're looking at what the platform likes, what I suppose the viewer behavior is generally like, when they drop off the most, when it's important to actually get them on the hook and things like that. So I've never gone so deep and be so conscious about YouTube. I'd say the early days we were really conscious on content. Yes. And oblivious to the actual analytics. Yeah. Now I'm like, we're still aware of content, really is important, but we are very hypersensitive about actually playing the YouTube game, keeping our attention, and making sure that we're not talking for the sake of talking. Yes, and we did notice that in your content. Because we're just looking at the progression of views of your content over time, because it'd be like a year where you would have like 10,000 views, 20,000 views, 30,000, 10,000, 17, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, it would go up to 400,000. Then the next week it would be down to 10. Then a month later, like you'd have again double digits in the thousands, and then all of a sudden it'd be 600,000. So we did see that there was that trend there, that it was just like the content went up, and however it performed. But there was a point where we noticed that you're actually getting more triple digit, like hundreds of thousands of views of videos more regularly in about 2015. So what happened with your content around that time that you were getting regularly the 100,000 plus views on your videos? Around 2015, that's a long time ago now, David. You're challenging my memory here. Do you know what? I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm trying to think what was happening around that time. I think the difference back then is that there was not a lot of people doing it back then. Yeah. And I think when I look at it now, there's just especially in the golf space, there wasn't hardly anybody then. Whereas now there's so much more competition out there now. Everybody's doing YouTube. Yeah. And it's just harder to grab attention. But I think we've got a really good. I think that the last year to 18 months, we've had a real good learning experience, understanding things, and we feel in a great place now that it's so important to understand YouTube and the metrics that you're looking at. Absolutely. Because it helps shape everything when you're creating content. It really does. We are planning it to the fine detail. The coaching's the easy part. The creating the content is the easy part. The actual playing the YouTube game is the hardest part to think about. Capturing the attention of the person. You gotta really look at I'll still check all of our videos. Every video that goes up, I'm still analyzing it, making sure, but I can step back and look at it from the viewer's perspective and go, is this engaging? Are the call to actions in? Yeah. What's this like here? What's the old experience like of the whole video? So I'm definitely looking at it from a new lens now. Excellent. So what are those key things that you're looking at as an end user on your new videos that if they're not there, you won't put the video up? So there's two things really. First of all, the learning experience. That's the number one thing. We're there to create content that's really helpful. And if it's not helpful, and if we're not painting the right pictures or educating the people in the right way and delivering real practical stuff, then there's no point in it going up. So I'm always looking at that first. The second thing is really that how is it keeping my attention from the start? How quickly do we get into what we're talking about? How do the camera angles and the music really keep me engaged? What are the call to actions coming in? When does subscribe come in? Does the subscribe have a sound attached to it? Does that grab my attention? Where is the position on the screen when the CTA comes in? in relation to who's talking. For instance, if the guy on the left is talking and the CTA is coming in on the right side of the screen, you can easily miss it. So there's just loads of subtle different things that I'm looking at to sort of analyze how that person is viewing it and how they're going to sort of interact with it, because the engagement is key as well. We want people to interact in them and subscribe and like and comment and things like that. So yeah, the attention is crucial, really.
Fantastic. And as you said earlier, you're hypersensitive to those calls to action now, and then the whole experience. So now your radar is set to like 100 to go, yeah, this has to be the right thing, right content for our viewers.
Yeah. And also we would, in the past we would say, well, is it right to ask them to like the video? And we're like, oh, do we ask them to subscribe? Surely they'll know that. Surely they'll do that anyway. But they will not. They will not do it.
No.
You have to call them to action. You have to tell them, because they don't know, and until you prompt them, and it's amazing what it does. And we've seen that when we've measured it. So we're always doing that now. When are we going to ask them to like, comment? When are we going to ask them to subscribe? Give them a reason to subscribe.
Yeah.
The CTAs are huge, really.
Love it. Okay, so I want to talk about sponsorships now. As we can see from your top, that you've got a couple of sponsors.
Yes, a couple of sponsors.
You just got a couple of sponsors. I think Lewis Hamilton has just beat you on the number of sponsors he's got on his team. So you started out quite early with your videos with Under Armour, but a few months later you ended up with Adidas, and you've gone on and got more sponsors from there. So other than them being a German company starting with A, like Audi and Adidas, what are the other criteria for your sponsors?
You mean in terms of what do we do for them, or?
Well, we'll get to what you do for them, but what is it about the sponsor that you would be willing to work with them, or what would you not be willing to, or what kind of sponsor would you not be willing to work with?
So they've got to fit with our, I suppose, brand values first of all, and we've got to believe in the product. If we believe in the product and they align with our brand values, then that's the most important thing. We would never do anything with a company that we didn't actually really, really love. And all the brands that we're actually got partnerships with, we just love the brands, we love the products, and we love the brands. If we didn't, it would be a no-go, because then again, it's disingenuous, you're not being authentic. And ultimately the partnership works because people see that you believe in the product. And if you've got this long-standing relationship with that brand, they see that it's a tie-in for a long time. So you must believe in the product if you're using it for a long time. So for us, we have to fully believe in the product. We have to really like the people there. That's a key thing. Just liking the people who you're working with, and who they are. And then just really aligning the brands together, really, and what they stand for.
Love it. So I mentioned Under Armour was one of the first sponsors you worked with. How did you get that deal? You had just started this thing called YouTube in the golf space back in 2012.
So that was actually because of our connections in the golf business and the reps, because I used to work in a golf shop. Pierce used to work in a golf shop. Yeah. And because of that connection in the golf industry, we knew the reps who would distribute this. So we knew the Under Armour rep, and we said, look, we need some clothes to put in the videos. Are you okay would you be able to, I'm wondering if we actually paid for them. I'm not even sure. We may have even paid for them. So it wasn't actually, I don't think it was a sponsorship. I can't remember if we paid for them or they actually give it us, but it was just literally a loose conversation and said, look, we've got this YouTube channel. Can we wear some stuff? And I think he might've done us a deal on some stuff. And then it progressed into a conversation with, we needed some golf shoes, because me and Pierce didn't have any money. Yeah. And we're like, we could do with some golf shoes. What rep can we speak to who can give us some golf shoes? And we spoke to this one company, and they were like, sorry, we haven't got the budget. And then we spoke to the Adidas for a pair of shoes. I know. And then we spoke to Adidas and told them what we were doing. And they said, that sounds interesting. Let's set up a meeting up. And we went for a meeting at the Belfry with the Adidas and the TaylorMade rep. And they're like, oh yeah, we can give you some shoes. And tell you what, we'll give you a bag as well and a club. So they give us a bag and a club. And we're like, okay, great, that's fine. We'll have a bag and a club and some shoes off you. That's it. And then that was the start of the relationship then. And as we started to grow, they were like, oh, there's maybe some opportunity here to get some more gear in there and maybe some clothes. And it just grew in a very natural way. But they saw where we were going, and they sort of, oh, there's maybe a small opportunity here. But I don't think they understood. We thought we knew where it was going. They just took a punt and said, oh, let's give them this stuff and see what happens. But since then, it's been great. Really good partnership for the last probably maybe 6 or so years now, at least.
Nice. So how many of those sponsorships have actually turned into cold hard cash as opposed to just stuff?
I would say nearly all of them.
Nice.
I would say nearly all of them. Yeah, I'd say nearly all of them. Yeah, the majority. Yeah, I would say the majority.
Nice. Definitely nice. So yeah, and you still get the free stuff.
Yes, and we still get the free stuff.
So you've come a long way for paying for the free stuff to actually getting the free stuff and cash on top.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of hard work, a lot of patience, and a lot of going out to film in the English winter, freezing cold temperatures. So yeah, it was all worth it. Love it.
And you say it is the long game.
It is. I mean, like I say, we've been going 9 years now, and it actually feels like we are just getting to grips with it. And we've been going 9 years. We're just figuring this stuff out now, and that it really feels like that. We're just figuring it out.
Love it. So speaking of British winter, so your space is very seasonal. So looking at your views on your channel, you'll see like December, January is like the lowest views, just under 1 million views at the moment, then all the way up into the summer where you're getting 3 million plus views and sort of all the stuff in between. How does your business work around that to make sure that you're bringing in money consistently throughout the year?
Yeah, so the peak season for us is April to, let's say, end of September. That's where the bulk of the golf season is because of basically the weather.
Sunshine,
Exactly. So soon as that kicks off, then everybody starts playing golf. And for us, it's the time where how can we maximize the revenue opportunities from either YouTube, but also then how we're going to get as many coaching plan sales and membership sign-ups, basically. So for us, it's like we make the majority of our money between that period of time, and then if we can sort of stay pretty steady over the winter periods, and we use the winter period actually to just regroup and go, okay, what do we need to put in place for March, April next year for when the season kicks off again?
Okay.
So even though we're still working hard to get business in and keep customers, it's almost like, okay, what do we need to set up? How are we going to deliver more value on the website? What team members do we need in? It's almost like a little bit of a regrouping session to go, right, let's get ready to go again in March, April.
So you're using that period for a sort of plan for this is our season. Let's get ready for that. And what can we do better? How can we build the business even more, provide a better experience for our audience?
Exactly. Yeah, it is. It's a good way to sort of review and plan and think forward. And the challenge that you face within the winter is, right, how do we still grow in the winter? And that's one of the things that we're going to be looking at next year. How do we continue to grow between October and, let's say, March? How can we still increase? Because people still play golf, and the market in the US is just 25 million golfers. It's massive. Yeah.
And how does your content change sort of like in the off season for golf? How does your content change on your channel compared to in the summertime?
So the content in the winter will be definitely more specific. So we'll create stuff that's more specific to like winter golf. So for instance, we did a winter plan that went on YouTube. A lot of it will be around driving range or practice and things like that. Less golf course stuff, and just more, I suppose, more right for the winter game, really. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the content's shaped by what the customers and the followers are saying, but generally it's less short game, less putting, and more driving range, more driver, more practice, and things like that.
Okay, perfect. Now, you get to play with some of the biggest stars in golf and on your channel. So, well, first of all, how do you get the likes of Rory McIlroy and co to not only get to play with them, but agree to be on a video on your YouTube channel? And what's the weirdest thing that's happened when you've been doing a video with someone like that?
What's the weirdest thing? Okay, so basically, those videos come about through TaylorMade. So our partners TaylorMade do
Okay, yeah,
the golf clothing. So they do a photo shoot every year
yeah,
with all their sort of big ambassadors and big players, and we get invited to that, and then they give us basically a certain amount of time with each of these players, which is just
nice.
amazing. Really, get to spend time with Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, and let's say we've got 45-minute slot with them to create whatever we want, and we just sort of plan it out and just get in there. So this year we managed to play golf with Rory and play golf with a couple of others. I'm trying to think of the weirdest thing that's happened when we've been there. It's a good question. What's the weirdest thing? I think it's just weird when Rory McIlroy says your name, to be fair. You've got a superstar golfer, Rory McIlroy, and he comes over and he's like, "Hi, Andy and Pierce," and you sort of, we've done about 3 or 4 videos with him now. So it's strange when somebody like that knows who you are and says your name. You're like, okay, hang on a minute, this is strange. It's sort of pinch yourself moments, really, but it's so good to do. We really enjoy it. It's brilliant, really.
And now you're on first name basis. Yeah, Rory, how are you?
Yeah, it's pretty strange, but it's great.
Fantastic. Okay, so what are some of the tools getting started into the YouTube nitty gritty? Like you talked about your checking your analytics, you're deep diving into the back end now. What are the tools that you use on your channel or your team uses to get the best information from your channel?
So I think one of the big things that we're really looking at is the audience retention. So how are people engaging? So the start of the video is crucial. So if we know that if somebody can stay on the video for 20 seconds,
yeah,
they're going to stay on the video generally. So it's how can we really capture them in the first 20 seconds so we don't drop off to 50%. So you might lose 15, 20% in that first 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But after that it sort of levels out and then goes like this. So we're always paying attention to the initial start.
Yeah.
And then what happens in the audience retention? Is there a drop? Is there any change in audience retention? And then basically looking back at the video and going, well, what happened there? What happened in that part that actually made people skip on or do something different? So the watch time there is really important, the audience retention. Even we're looking now very much at the how many people are really on to the end, how many people are watching to the very end of the video. That's something that we really want to improve that. So we're actually changing very much the way how we finish the videos now.
Interesting.
We're not really winding down so much to let them know that it's finishing. We'll keep going, and we'll finish quite quickly and sharp.
Yeah.
And we won't say, the last thing we say might be thanks for watching. We won't say, okay, hope that was useful. Thanks for watching, and then carry on talking because we know that they're going to go. So
exactly.
we're really working hard to finish the videos more concise, but also a lot of that, and then we're trying to get them into the funnel that often comes up at the end as well. So we want them on to the end, but also we'll get a bit at the start.
Love it. Yeah. So you're not giving those indicators that people normally do. So those are the top 3 ways you can stop slicing on the golf range, which means, hey, I've just finished my content. You can bugger off now.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's new for us. That's something that we've done in the last 2 weeks. We're changing all the time.
Really?
This is the beauty of it. It's something that we've done in the last 2 weeks. So we are changing, looking, experimenting every single week we're out filming. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that impacts it and how we can get that retention up to the end, really.
Yeah. Okay. So, and you've been doing this for over 9 years now. So, and like, as you said, you just realized this in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. And this is off the back of really just me and Pierce stepping away from YouTube a little bit, because there's so much other stuff that we need to do, and this is why we got somebody in who solely looks after YouTube.
Yeah.
His job is we do 1 video a week. He edits the video. He does everything regarding the video. He analyzes it, looks at the data, comes up with suggestions, produces a report every week. So it's his job to understand and tell us what we need to do better. So we can focus on the creation of the content, serving the members and things like that, really. So that's been a massive help. Otherwise we wouldn't be able to do it.
So you're actually doing data-based decisions all off your analytics.
Exactly. Yeah.
Love
that he's doing, that Sean's doing for us, which is good. So we haven't got to do it.
So you're quickly coming up to 1 million subs. So you're just shy of the 3/4 of 1 million. And as you mentioned, you've got all of these things you've been tweaking. You're looking at the analytics. What's your plan to get to that 1 million sub mark?
Do you know what? It's we're not so focused on the amount of growth we have now. I think it's interesting because one of the things that we talk about now is that what we focused on this year is engagement.
Okay.
And engaging with what we've got. It's so easy to get wrapped up in trying to grow the channel and trying to get numbers and trying to go that. But we're like, well, if we can create great engaging content, then the subscribers will take care of themselves.
Exactly.
Whereas if you focus too much on the actual growth of the subscribers, you can neglect the actual engagement and connection with the audience. So we're switching from that, and we're less bothered about, okay, we've got to get to 1 million, and we're going, right, how can we really engage the 734 that we've got?
Yeah.
How can we really connect with them and really engage them in a better way? So that's one of our sort of priorities this year, is to up the engagement across all social media and focus on that instead of the growth, and the growth hopefully takes care of itself.
Love it. Love it. So it's giving a better viewing experience to your existing 734,000, not 734 subscribers, but 734,000 subscribers that you've got, as well as the hundreds and maybe millions of people who come to your channel and don't subscribe. But you want to give them a much better viewing experience, that they will go, you know what, I like this stuff. I'm going to click that red button and come along for the journey.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly our focus. How can we do that? How can we get them to subscribe? How can we really connect with them in a better way from a personal level? What we do is obviously coach, which is helpful stuff. But one of the things that we're really doing now is, okay, well, look, how can we open up and give and let them buy into us as personalities as well, instead of just the golf coaches?
Yeah.
So again, that's another thing that we're really looking at this year. What's the content look like, and how can we use the production to showcase that, but also how can we create content, and also what can me and Pierce do that's different that can allow that to happen more. So it comes from every single angle, really. How can we engage them in the production, post-production, pre-production? What are we doing? What's the content doing? It shapes every decision that we make then.
Love it. Love it. So you talked about, you just touched on having your audience across multiple platforms. So you've built up your Instagram following, has got another 300,000+ subscribers. Your Facebook page, another 200,000+ subscribers. How do you get people to follow you across multiple platforms successfully?
So we'll put it in the, we don't talk about it that much on YouTube. What we actually do now is we actually just focus on each individual platform, giving each one some love.
Okay.
So one of the things that we've only done this last 2 months, again, you'll see how much we're changing. One of the things that we've done in the last 2 months is that we actually now schedule a social media planning day.
Yep.
Once a month. And then where we create all the content for all the platforms. So specific to Facebook, specific to Instagram, specific to TikTok. And then the following day we'll go and film it. So what we're really doing is just going, how can we really grow authentically and create the right type of content that actually that platform's going to like, that's really suited to that platform. So we're just making sure that we're sectioning and being smart with our time to give each platform a bit of love that it needs, that actually the algorithm likes as well.
Love it. Love it. So you're not just creating content for YouTube and then repurposing it to other platforms. You're going, okay, what does this platform want from us that we can deliver?
Exactly, yeah. And we still repurpose some of it because
Yeah.
it'd be crazy not to.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, the focus for us that we can do is set aside this creation day where we really be more creative now, and we actually dedicate time to doing it. And then the following day, while it's fresh in our mind, we'll go and film it and get it done. We've only had 2 of those days so far this year, but already off the back of that, the growth and the improvement's been huge. So just by dedicating those 2 days a month has been massive.
Love it. Love it. So we got a question in. Given COVID pandemic shut down many businesses, including golf courses, how crucial was it that you already had a YouTube channel that was paying you an additional income, including the sponsorship money? Very good question there.
The answer is, yeah, it was crucial. It was crucial. I mean, we were lucky that we got into the social media, and we had a revenue coming in from social media. If we didn't have that,
yeah,
we would have been screwed. Really, we would have been screwed. A lot of people who were golf coaches, just coaching one-to-one,
yeah,
they can't earn any revenue. Whereas for us, our business is, I still coach as well one-to-one, but it's not a necessity for income for me. It's the revenue for us in terms of the income comes through online.
Love it. Okay, so what is the most enjoyable thing about creating how-to golf videos and the most frustrating thing?
One of the most enjoyable things is how many times we actually mess up, and when you look back at the bloopers that we've got, there's just a lot. There's just so many. So it really is. It's great to look back at that. You forget, to be fair, how many times you actually make mistakes. So we get in the team now to really collate all the mistakes that we make and then put together a video. We've got some real good ones that we're going to be releasing as well soon. So that's good. And I think the experiences that we get to be a part of with filming with these top class athletes.
Yeah.
Or whether it's traveling to a beautiful destination and doing an event for one of our partners, it's just incredible, really.
Love it. And so what's the most frustrating thing?
Frustrating thing. What's the most frustrating thing about creating content?
For golf or just content in general?
Oh, good question. Coming up with titles. Trying to
like anybody on YouTube.
Yeah, trying to come up with a new title every week that's different, that catches, that there's something you haven't used before, and things like that. I think the outros used to be a nightmare. You used to have to think about what we're going to do how we're going to sign out. Whereas now we're not really thinking about those. It's like we're going to finish it abruptly, so it used to be the intro and outro was really frustrating. The content was a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Now we're sort of getting rid of those, so it's actually it's getting easier.
Excellent. So we got a question here from the Rusty Blades, and it's a sponsorship question for a business, and he's asking what would be the best way for a business to look for sponsors for a YouTube channel?
I think the key thing is really looking at businesses that that align with your business. So looking at the people who align with your business, that the products that you really like and believe in. But the number one thing is you've got to ask, how can you add value to them? So instead of thinking about what they can do for you, you go, well, what can we do for them? So for us, for instance, some of our sponsors, an important thing is that we go to an event that they do where they've got hundreds of golfers, and we coach them at the event. So we can actually really add some great value to that event. So it's really looking at the people. You go, well, what do they do? Find out about what business they've got, what events they do, and what can you do, whether it's either exposure of something in the video or, whether it's an in-person experience that they like, that's really important to them. I'd find out as much as I can of what's important to them and how you can add value to them. I'd be thinking about what they can give to you last. If you focus on what you can give to them, then that's the most important thing I would say.
Love it. Love it. Okay, so we combed through your channel and we found you have 26 videos with over 1 million views on them. Those are the ones that are visible. There may be more. What is it about those videos that got them the 100, got the million views even, as opposed to the ones that maybe you only got like 5 or 6 or 7,000? And what do you feel made the difference?
Oh, I think it's a really tough one to answer because we've got one video that's done like 9.5 million.
Yes.
And I'm like, it's like, well, it's not groundbreaking. It's not groundbreaking stuff. The thumbnail is good. The thumbnail catches your eye. So I think that, but the title is very, I'd say that the title and thumbnail are a big part of that. The content is good, but the content isn't groundbreaking. But I think the title that we've got, the keywords in there are massive, like golf swing. It's golf swing made simple is our biggest one. So that one there is just, well, it's such an appealing title. It's keyword friendly. It's got simple in there. People want to hear that it's something simple. That they haven't got to do, and the thumbnail's got some cool graphics in that really catches the eye, and then the content's good. The content's okay. Like I said, it's not anything special. It's simple stuff, but sometimes you're like, well, you think something's going to really kill it, and it doesn't, and then you think, oh, this one's just this one will do okay, and then that kills it. It's like, well, yeah, it's a tricky one to actually understand.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing with YouTube is, as you said, the one that you've put all the hard work into, you've done all the research, and you've got the graphics and all the nice animations and stuff, and it goes meh. And that one you go, yeah, it's a throwaway video, and all of a sudden 9.5 million views later.
Yeah, and it's amazing how that one video can help you grow. That does well every single year when the golf season kicks off. Keeps doing well for us every single year.
Yeah, and the key takeaway for that, whoever's watching, is that he's got his keywords in the title. It is an evergreen that, as you say, every single year it comes back, becomes popular again. And it's one of those things that it's not what you think is what your audience wants. Your audience will tell you eventually by viewing of us at 9.5 million times that they will tell you what's important to them.
Yeah, and I think one of the discoveries that we've made as well, David, is that all of our titles are moving towards pleasure instead of trying to avoid pain. So let me give you an example. So it's like how to hit the driver straight might be a good one to do. We find that the ones that are how to stop doing something doesn't necessarily work that much. It's generally is the moving towards the pleasure.
So how, stop slicing the ball wouldn't perform anywhere near as much as how to knock 5 strokes off your game.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what generally we do. We'll always move towards the pleasure in terms of the titles. Yeah.
Interesting. So that's worth, if you're in the sports space or even just on YouTube at all, that's something worth testing to see whether the move away from videos will work better or worse than the moving towards.
Exactly. Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so last questions. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, last question is, what do you recommend for not just somebody who wants to grow a golf channel, but anyone who wants to grow YouTube today? What were the key things that you've learned in the past year or so that if you were starting all over again, you would focus on?
Really understand the metrics. So start the video. I think the start is just absolutely crucial. Tell people what they're going to experience and tell people how by watching this video, you're going to make their life better. So really sell them at the start and then get into the actual content really fast. So get into what they want really fast and then make sure you put the call to actions in there. Really make sure that you tell them exactly what you want them to do. If you want them to like it, tell them you want them to like it. And if you want them to subscribe, tell you want them to subscribe. But do your very best to capture their attention and just deliver really good content. Make it fantastic content that's really, really useful and really beneficial. You can't let although you've got to play the YouTube game in terms of the analytics, do not let that stop you delivering great value to people, because that's what people want. If you can deliver great value, then people will enjoy it, they'll engage, and then that's what's going to make you, successful on YouTube.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you very much for those insights into your very successful YouTube channel and your successful golf business. Thank you very much for that. We look forward to you getting to that 1 million subscribers with even better content, and probably next year hit the 2 million once we come out of COVID and people can get back on the golf course.
Exactly. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Thanks for having us on, David, as well.
All right. Thank you very much, Andy.
Thanks.